G'day everyone. Welcome to What Was That? My name is Jessica Goodfellow and today I am thrilled to share my very first guest episode with my therapist, Maria Spathis, the founder of Spathis Wellbeing and the creator of the VIA method. So, you guys have already heard of Maria because I've name dropped her a couple of times in the previous season. So you already know she's the real deal. She's totally changed my life. Therapy is so much fun with Maria, and that is why I wanted to have her on as my very first guest. So our conversation today is very fun. We discuss how therapy works with Maria. We talk about death. We do a session on me as the guinea pig where you get to experience what it's like to be me in therapy. And I thought that would be fun because so many people think therapy is for people with serious issues, or maybe you think it's scary or it's just not for you. And I think after this conversation, it might change the way you see therapy. Without further ado, let's just dive in to the episode. Don't forget to subscribe, join the Substack group, listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Pods, YouTube, Substack. Join the email newsletter on Substack. And that's it. Let's go. Welcome, Maria Spathis, to What Was That? Would you like to introduce yourself and what you do?
Yep, so my name's Maria. I manage Spathis Wellbeing in Sydney, Australia. I'm a transpersonal psychotherapist and I work mainly in the area of loss and grief. So obviously grief being a death of a loved one, but there's also many losses after that. There's loss of a future self. There's so many losses that pop up after losing something big. And so I've developed a model that assists people, that's like a roadmap that can help someone just navigate themselves through those moments of loss and grief. So, yeah, that's me.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, most importantly to me, you're my therapist. Would you call yourself a therapist, a counselor, a psychologist? I think you just said what you are, right?
Psychotherapist.
What's the difference between a psychiatrist, psychologist, and what you do specifically?
Yep. Okay. So I'll speak as honest as possible with this. So a psychiatrist just deals with it's like psychology, but they can prescribe drugs, and they usually only just prescribe drugs. That's kind of where they work. For me, a psychologist just tells you what's wrong rather than you telling them what you're feeling. So they're more of a diagnosis, and they do follow the DSM, which is that big, thick book that is used to diagnose people. So that's psychology. Standard therapy is just talk therapy. It's quite mainstream, but transpersonal psychotherapy is more going deep into the unconscious, and transpersonal means to go beyond the persona. So what my role is to work with a client. They might come to me diagnosed with anxiety, depression, or whatever it is. What I do is we go, okay, that's what your diagnosis is. Let's place that to the side for a moment. Now let's take the layers off. And let's uncover all those masks that you're pretending to be throughout your life, and you have been throughout your life. And also how society as well has shaped that person. So we're taking off what society told you what you have to be. So that's the difference.
I'm just taking some notes on the side. I've already got so many questions just from you saying that. I feel like maybe people might, or I also wonder what's the ethics of us speaking in a situation outside of therapy. What do you have to say about that?
My views are, if the client's okay with it, then I'm okay with it. Because it's their space. It's if they want it completely confidential, that's where I've got to leave it. But if you prefer it not to be and on a podcast, then I'm also okay with that too. It's all on the client and what they need and want.
Sweet. So just so everybody knows, I'm all open. What would you say? What do you say? I'm an open book. And so today I'm going to allow Maria to absolutely go all the way deep inside, and we're going to later on have some live session work, which I'm actually really craving. So a lot of people will go to therapy and they think there's something wrong with them, and then they get this name or this word and they're like, great, now I have ADHD, I've got anxiety, I've got fucking autism, whatever. And that
Yes.
changes things.
Yes.
I guess for some people that's really good. What's the work that you do if someone comes to you like with that kind of urgency to find out what's wrong?
So if we talk about diagnosis, like you said, some people need it. They need to understand what's going on, and for them, it brings them relief. My perspective on diagnosis is it's a label and people identify themselves with it. So for me, that's problematic. If it helps them, great. But if you're identifying with it, then you just walk around as someone that's anxious and that's who you are. And that's very bad to be in. It's a bad state of mind to be in. That's my perspective on it. It
Yeah.
can kind of really disrupt someone's world a bit.
So I'm thinking back to when I first met you, and it might have been 3 years ago now. It could have been
23?
4. We were very much focused on symbols, dreams, and
Yep.
sort of the psychic world, which was what drew me to you. We actually met through
Mm.
our mutual psychic. I don't know if that's something that you like to be obvious about you, or if you keep that kind of under wraps for the appropriate person.
Mhm.
So that's like 5 questions in one. But
No,
I
that's all
guess
right.
the progression of your method from then
Mm.
to now.
So the method that I use, and it's all transpersonal based, it's anything that the unconscious can speak through. So whether that's through art, poetry, writing, dreams, because the unconscious only speaks through symbols. It doesn't have a language. And so this is why it's important that we know the symbols so we can know what the unconscious is actually trying to tell us. And each symbol, doesn't just have a word, whether it's just, we'll say a spoon, for example. It's not just a spoon. There's a whole story behind that spoon, and that's where we understand what your unconscious is trying to say.
I suppose at the time, grief wasn't the focus, at
Hmm.
least as you advertised it. In hindsight, grief seems to be central to literally everything. And it seems to be the emotion that's underneath
Yeah,
anger,
yeah, all of it. Yeah.
all of them.
Hmm.
So what made you decide to focus more completely on grief?
So a few years ago, I lost my dad, and so it was quite a traumatic and like otherworldly experience to go through. And so it was sudden, so which made it even worse. And I remember losing him and, having a week off work after that and then going back into it. And I was a project manager at the time implementing HR and payroll systems. And I lost my mind. I just couldn't focus. I couldn't understand. It was really hard for me to then present to management all my findings and all that when I just lost my dad. Like, this is not important. This is bullshit, really. That's just
Yeah.
how my mind was working. And so I had to resign from my job because I just couldn't. I spiritually, mentally, physically was unwell on all levels, and I just didn't know what it was. And then years went by, still trying to work on myself and figure out what was going on. And I'd realized that the grief that I experienced with my dad had opened up every single loss that had been stored under the surface.
Yeah.
And if you look at my website, there's an area called Dimensions of Loss, and I've experienced every single one of those, and
Yeah.
that's what I've uncovered. And so for me, it's like, guys, do you understand that anxiety and depression is probably just loss? If we just stop for a
Right.
moment and maybe tackle what have you lost, it could be a future idea, a future self, it could be a job, it could be any sort of loss that you just think, oh, well, it's not there. What's happened is once the loss occurs, your life has changed forever. That's it. Whether it's loss of a relationship or something, your life has changed. That's it. That person's no longer there. The idea is no longer there. And so what happens then is a space is opened. And so what you need to do now is enter that space because a new life has formed.
Mm.
Um, and so that's the work that I had to do. And I ran myself through the method that I had developed a few times. And it was the thing that got me back to myself
Yeah. Could you
after losing
articulate
myself.
the method in a
Yep.
short? Yep.
Yeah. So there's a few factors that we look at once we enter into the method. So during grief, there was safety, thoughts, thinking, emotions. You've also got kindness, sharing, care. I think there's about 6 of them, and all those 6 are hit in some way during grief. It might not be all, might be all. It depends on the person. Every person's relationship with grief is different, and no one's relationship with grief is the same. So I've set up a method where we look at certain areas. And like I said, you might be okay with care, but you might be suffering with safety. And so we look at the loss of safety that person is going through. And so once we've worked on it, the goal is to use those methods that I explained before: meditation, painting, guided visualizations, to find out what's going on. And then we use those to bring that person back to themselves. And once that has happened, we then go through a process of rituals where we really cement it, close it, and integrate what's happened back into that person's life. So then we spend a big portion of integration.
It's completely changed what I thought therapy is or is supposed to be. I think you usually assume it's like you go there, you have to talk about your emotions, you have to hear what's wrong with you, and it's like a very loaded space. But with you, it was explorative. It was like an adventure. It was so much fun. So anyway, I guess the question is, where do you sit with the concept of spirituality and your work?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of science. As much as it's debated, I do like science. I'm very much, I need things to be proven before I can actually really believe it. So the great thing about the work that I'm doing is there's already science out there on it. It's just not very obvious, and it's not mainstream, and they don't really throw it out there too much. The work that I also do is very ancient. It's very, very ancient. Ancient Greeks, the East, the West, every bit of philosophy from every old tradition is in transpersonal therapy. So that's where I like to find the balance between the science, traditions, and the spirit as well. Because as much as we love science and it's great to have facts, there's also the unseen, and that's the things we feel that don't have words, right? And so this is back to what you were saying with the psychiatrist and the psychologist. They were telling you what's wrong. I need it for us, I need you to tell me what you're feeling, so then we can go deeper and deeper, rather than me looking at you and going, oh, your behaviors are XYZ, she's got XYZ as a diagnosis. So all I want to do is get to know who you are. That's what I'm doing in these sessions. I want to know who Jess is. I don't need to know all the rubbish that her parents did, her family did, or her work did, or whatever life's done to you, right?
Right.
I don't want to know that. I want to know who you are. And so by the time you leave our sessions, my goal is for you to understand yourself a bit deeper. And then once we keep doing that work, you'll probably realize that your anxiety, depression start to fall away. These diagnoses that people are giving, people that like psychologists that are giving out and diagnosing people, you start to see those drop off. Because I was there too. I suffered with anxiety. I suffered with depression, like everyone. If you grow up in this society, 100%, you've got one of them. You know what I mean? So
it's natural, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's a very natural response to the environment.
Exactly.
Something you said to me once was that your favorite word is choice. I don't know if it's still your favorite word, but if it is, why?
Because we can choose anything. Like, we can choose to be depressed. We can choose to sit in anxiety. So when you start to make the choice of the opposite, what happens?
Something you talk about a lot as well is the ego, and how you think that people give the ego a hard time or a bad rap. Talk about that.
So my personal opinion with the ego is that it's being conditioned by society. So from the moment you're born, you hit 5, you go to school, and the conditioning begins. So that's how the ego's run, because it's looking at what's normal. We've been told that, going to work 5 days a week, 9 to 5 is normal. So the ego is going to want to follow that way. And so when you start to go and behave outside, or start to think outside of the ego, that's where you're going to see the disruption happen. That's where things feel a bit messy, right? It's only because the ego is messy, right? But if we had trained our egos back, I don't know, the ancient civilizations and how they would have done things, would have trained the ego to be much more compassionate, much more loving, much more human, but our egos are just so broken now. So unfortunately, we can't really listen to our egos at the moment. But if we can train it to work in a certain way, the ego will do so much for us. It will lead us down so many ways. It's just trying to keep the status quo. That's all
Yeah,
it's trying to do.
this is really trippy to me. I almost don't understand what you're saying because I feel like in mainstream culture and psychology and writing, the concept is that you need to eradicate your ego. You need to get rid
Yep,
of it and you need to have an ego death. And for me
yep.
personally, when I began to work through these different modalities, such as what you do, I experienced what I would call an ego birth. It became
Mm,
apparent to me that I was so low on all of these constructs of identity that I actually needed to build and hold up to be
mm.
able to operate in the world. Can you go deeper into what you're saying? So the ego should stay and it should be
Well,
wielded.
our ego has been conditioned in such a terrible way, right? So it does need to go. However, if it is in the negative ego, we'll call it a negative ego, you need to listen to what the ego is saying so you're able to then rebalance it and change the ego
Right,
to then work better for you rather
right,
than rather like the ego can be like, oh my God, that person's got more money than me, or that person's got a better job than me. That's the ego, right? But if we can train the ego not to look at it like that by killing it and then rebirthing it, just like you said,
right. So it
that's
does
how
come
how it
back.
changed.
What's a premium ego?
A premium ego,
Yeah.
once just say comparing yourself to someone, the ego comes in and goes, oh, don't worry, we're going somewhere else. We don't need this.
Oh, yeah,
It's
that'd be nice.
wouldn't that be good? Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
good? However, that also comes from the heart as well. The heart
Right.
is kind of what we need to train the ego,
Yeah,
is that
okay.
inner.
There's not much speak around the subject of the heart when it comes to these therapeutic spaces. And I think like nowadays a lot of people are educated around these newer concepts of mental health and a lot of people are going to therapy, but not many
Mhm.
people are talking about the heart. What role does the heart play and what do you actually mean when you say the heart?
Well, we've got three brains. You've got the head, you've got the stomach, and you've got the heart. So the stomach's your intuition, we've got the gut feeling. The head is obviously the mind, and then the heart it's a place where the soul can speak through. That's where and for me, we use the word soul, right? It's just to make things much easier today. So it's where the soul's able to speak to us. And what that means is just say you walk into a room and things don't feel good, your heart's going to say, I don't want to be here. I feel off. And then you start to get, that sick feeling or you get worried. And these emotions are talking back at you. That's where we're like, that's what we need to listen to because that's what is going to help us continue navigating
Mm,
life. And that's what we work with in transpersonal is the heart. What does the heart say? Because that's where the true you sits. That's basically where
yeah.
the true you sits. And the Heart Math institution has endless studies on the heart, the frequencies of the heart, and how much it runs us
Have you
as
seen the
well.
video of the man who took a heart apart
Yeah,
and
it's quite big.
I
It's like
think
he
he's like a
folded,
Spanish
unfolded.
scientist. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, unfolds. It's like a kind of like a
Like a
vortex or
vortex.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the pump is the frequency as well. And
Yeah.
it's also an interesting fact, the heart is the last thing to go when someone dies as well. So which,
Wow.
when when all the organs shut down, the heart's the last thing to go. That's when the spirit leaves.
The thymus is another
Oh, okay.
unexplored. Have you heard about this? When you're a
Yes.
baby, you're born with
Mm.
your heart is like fist and your thymus is actually bigger. And then over the years, as you grow, thymus is one of your glands. It's
Oh,
supposed to
wow.
be the gland that's related to the immune system, but there's not much information on it if you Google it. And all of the glands in the body have a correspondent organ, but I'm pretty sure the thymus is the only one that doesn't. It's vague and ambiguous. And
Mm.
I met a shaman once who said that there's these 144 akinetic cells, that's what he called it. They're the cells that stay alive and come with your soul. I don't know how he knows this, but they come with you when you die, and they exist just behind this. And so he was saying that it's an immortality gland, and if you like focus on it, it's in between your heart and but anyway, as I was saying,
Mhm.
you're a
Yep, yep.
baby, it's really big, and then as you get older it starts to shrink, and it could be
Yeah.
from factors in the environment like chemicals and metals and stuff like that. um by the age of about 60, I think, it's just like the size of a walnut, and it fills with fat.
From
So,
my understanding
yeah.
with that gland, it's a longevity gland, and we can rebuild that. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we're not maintaining it, so it's getting smaller and smaller. But we can go the opposite and increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's about immortality. So it's about, yeah, longevity.
We did a series of 6 sessions back to back about 3 years ago, and we did something different in every session. I recall them all being a lot of fun, and you would give me homework. And one of the tasks you gave me was to draw my mask.
So
Um,
this is the mask that you show the world. This
yeah,
is not your internal world. This is what you show the world. Is that
yeah,
correct? Yep, that mask.
yes.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Mhm.
So this is a pretty violent image of my mask. I personally found the fact that it was quite violent, I found that comforting because it helped me realize that if the mask isn't me, then all of this shit that I think I am, I can actually separate myself from this thing that was previously like horrifying and stuck to my face. How would you guide me through this image here that I did for homework and then I brought back to a session?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'll get you to sit with it and then I'll ask you what stands out. It's the first question. What stands out for you? Or I could always ask, how does it feel when you look at this?
Well, what's standing out for me right now is the smaller words, like the witness and the
Mm,
clown and strength with question marks. And I don't recall what feeling state I was in when I so
mm,
by the way, when I drew this mask, I would kind of sit, like ground myself a bit and meditate, and then I would just get all the colors out and choose, just let go of like judgments and just choose the color that I feel like, and start. And then I recall with this I got into a flow and I was literally fucking weeping. It would have been an hour just like crying the whole time over this thing. I can't exactly remember what a lot of it means, but those small words for me right now are what's standing out, especially the witness and the clown.
mm. But I'm wondering why they're small. What is it that makes these words small? So witness and clown.
There's something about how giant the spoilt brat thing
Mm,
is, because that was so
mhm,
conscious to me and it still is, to where it kind of feels like it's like I feel like I'm in that mask right now at this moment in my
mm,
life. Like I feel like the loudness of that whole thing is crowding everything else out, and there's not actually enough space for me to acknowledge those smaller, more quiet things that I'm considering here.
mhm, mhm. So you said witness. Are you talking about the witness that's right in the middle? So
The
it says what
one,
was made of this witness. Is that what you're referring to?
I was looking at the one above it.
Oh, the witnesses. Yeah. Okay. There's a few.
So, yeah, so there's the witness, there's the witnessed, and then there's what was made out of the witnessed, which leaves what was made out of the witness. Like, that's the thing that's missing. I wrote that because I thought I'd seen something happen in my house to somebody
Hmm.
else.
Okay. Yeah.
And it wasn't until 2 years later that I realized that that was my brain's way of protecting me from the fact that it was me that it happened to.
Mm.
So that's kind of curious.
So what's your brain trying to protect you now? because witness is what stood out for you. So is your brain trying to protect you again from something? And has it got anything to do with the clown?
What comes to mind is kind of the desire to distance myself from being inside my own life or something in order to gain structure. This is kind of
But
where that theme of, so I've been thinking a lot about curiosity, and the whole purpose of my podcast is to celebrate curiosity because I believe that it has brought me so much healing and connection. But I'm at a point where I'm starting to wonder where the line is with that because you can be too curious and lose your self definition. You know, for instance, like I ended up in Ecuador through curiosity because I was like, well, there must be something else to learn. There must be something more to see. And I kind of just wasted a lot of time here. Ah,
so what, can you go deeper on what you've wasted or what
yeah.
was wasted?
So the theme that I've been noticing in myself is repeatedly throwing away identities and this feeling that I need to clear the slate and refresh myself and become a new person because I guess there's some underlying belief that I've done everything wrong and that previous person made mistakes and so we need to get rid of them. A good example of this is like my dance work. So as I mentioned in episode 3, my podcast, I've had a lot of like rivalry with my concept of myself as a dancer or a choreographer because I had some bad experiences in that line of work. And it was only recently I realized that I actually love it and I want to get back into it and I want to choreograph. And it was something that I'd suppressed because I just thought I couldn't conceive of myself being a part of that space anymore. Or I felt like I'd been exiled and I felt a lot of shame. And so
Mhm.
now that I've kind of cleared through that hump, now I'm like fucking beating myself up because I got rid of my old like dance based Instagram. I threw away a bunch of opportunities when I was in that phase of feeling like I have more to learn and I'm not ready and I need to be open
Mm.
to the new when actually building something over time was something that I didn't know how to do. I forget your original question, but
You said it was your brain trying to protect you, and so today, since that's come out at you, and it's what you've noticed
mm.
first, and it's linked up back then to the brain blocking things out to protect you. I now wonder, is it doing the same thing again?
I mean, the next thing that comes up is just this sense that I'm like, I kind of, I feel like I'm standing on the outside of the world and of my life. And I don't really
Hmm.
know how to get into it. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yep. All right. So when we did this originally, you only ever put a mask together for what you show the world, right? Your public, we call it a public mask. Is that
Right.
correct? That's all
Yeah.
you did? You didn't do any other masks? It might be a good idea for us to have a session, maybe not today,
Yeah, yeah.
to do a private mask, and we'll put
Oh,
a
like
mask
the
together,
mask that you don't show.
show the world.
Oh, that's actually scary. That's so scary.
Is it though? Is it? Is it?
I think so.
What's you already feel that it's going to be scary?
Yeah, I haven't considered that.
Okay, well, that's your next job.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Wow.
And we'll chat about that one. So let me know when you've done it.
Yeah, shit. All
Because
right.
because you said something about being on the edge and you don't know kind of what to do next. And I'm like, okay, that's great. We're talking about the public
Yeah.
face So let's go into the private and see what it is, right? Because the unconscious is what knows everything.
Yeah. Right. I've got some more questions for you before we actually like lean into this session, even though it's kind of like heading that way anyway. But I feel like I'd like to ask you a few more things. Yeah, that page on your website is really interesting. I'll bring it up on the screen, like all the different types of grief that there
Dimensions of
are.
loss.
Something that you said on your website is you're no longer content with coping and you want to move beyond surviving.
Mhm.
So, what's the correlation between grief and survival mode?
Grief sends you into survival mode. You lose absolutely everything and you're just trying to get through every single day.
Right.
Mm. Mm.
And how does that manifest in the long term if
Mhm.
someone doesn't, merge with their grieving process, which is so hard to do if you need to make money, you need to be in the workplace, you need to kind of hold yourself together.
Yep.
What
Yep.
happens to a person if they don't have that freedom of a grieving process?
Okay, so I'll use myself as an example. And so going back to what I was doing before I moved into this space was, again, I was a project manager and was rolling out systems. And I'm not, I guess I'm a good employee, right? I've been at the workplace for like 10 years at this point, right? So they know me well. I've done many jobs there. I've got trust with management and everything's great, right? I had to resign because I wasn't coping. Therefore, the project kind of stepped back a bit. They were a bit delayed and issues happened left, right, and center. I just had to resign. Okay. Now, in that moment, if there was something like this, the VIA method, was available to people, I would still be able to work and still have the support and still have the space just to feel what the fuck is going on. Because when dad died, I instantly felt like I was losing my mind. And that's what it feels like.
Right.
It feels like a proper disease. Like
Yeah.
you don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. It's like having a spiritual death or a spiritual crisis where everything has just blown up. Anything that meant
Yeah.
something before doesn't mean anything anymore. That's it.
Yeah.
So the loss of
Yeah.
meaning has been completely gone.
Right.
Again,
Yeah.
now if I was in the workplace and I had that support, and it's more than so, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's currently a program called EAP that corporate
Hmm.
use and it's psychology based and it's very surface level, right? So when I called them and I needed support, it was so surface. I just it's not working for me at all,
Yeah.
right? The only thing that helped was going into transpersonal, getting my heart to speak, getting my soul to speak, to really see what's going on, and then bringing that essence out into reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, so to answer that question, if my workplace at the time had something like the VIA method, I'd still be there. I'd still probably be rolling out projects. I'd
Right.
still be, I don't know what, like, I do think I'm a very hard worker, so I would have still put that effort in and all that. I just
Yeah.
lost the motivation to work, the motivation to do a lot of things.
Yeah. So a
So
big
and
aspect of your VIA method is that you're bringing it into corporate environments.
yeah,
How do you do that?
yeah. How do I do that? That's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
It's trying to convince the workforce that this is something to listen to. This is
Yeah.
something that, because the thing with grief, right? If you go through something traumatic or some big event or lose someone today, you don't see so I was reading studies yesterday and they found that people that have lost something, we'll talk about death, people that have lost a person, it takes them 5 years until they realize they're not coping. It takes them 5 years.
Wow.
Sometimes it hits at the second point, the second year, but usually the first 2 years is early grieving. So you don't even know anything yet. You're still very on the early stages of grieving. It's only till the fifth year where you're able to sit there and say, okay, I need help. Something's not right. My life's
Yeah.
falling apart, but you don't think it's grief because you've forgotten about that, right? Because
Yeah.
that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But then when you do dive into it, there is something there. There is
Hmm.
something there.
And
So,
so
yes.
in the workplace, would ideal, like if it if it went your ideal way, would that involve bringing in an external person or teaching
Mhm.
would
It
everyone
depends
be
on,
involved in the
yeah.
grieving process?
So you're talking about the whole entire organization,
Yeah.
would you say? Yeah. So there's many things. We need conscious leaders, firstly. We need leaders that are able to listen. So when someone's grieving, all they need is someone to listen, right? And just to speak back to them, like, oh, wow, that must really hurt, or just to give them some feedback. All they need is to be heard for that moment. And so workplaces need to know how to listen. Actively listen is the biggest
Yeah.
problem I've seen throughout the whole of corporate. No one actually actively listens. We're too busy, we've got things to do, and we just need the information to get our job done. So grief is what stops us and says, we're human. We need to be human for a
Right.
moment. And
Yeah.
so I'm trying to bring in the human element of humans into corporate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's active listening, there's also grief literature. I can never say the word, it's terrible. Literacy? It's terrible. Anyway, so there's also that too. Like no one knows what grief is. What does it do to someone? Everyone just goes
Yeah.
quiet with it. You know, how can it really
Yeah.
affect a person?
What
There's
is
that
it?
as well.
What is it? Do you have a definition of it?
Well, the actual meaning of it is heavy. So it's this
Oh,
heavy, like, and
yeah.
it's, I also read that it also means, depending on what language you look at it, I think a trap as well. It's called,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, it feels like that. Like,
Yeah.
like I mean, I knew I was really unwell when I was grieving. I
Yeah.
was so unwell. And I didn't know what it was because you just, yeah, just you think you're going crazy is the only thing I can say.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
really do.
Wow. It's so bizarre how much that concept and word is suppressed. Just even the way that we're not allowed to cry or the way that people feel about crying is really
Awkward.
so
Yeah.
inverted because
Hmm.
tears are I just wrote an essay about the SpongeBob movie. Have you seen the SpongeBob movie?
No.
This scene at the very end where Patrick and SpongeBob are under a heat lamp and they're dying and they're drying out. The theme of the movie is that they are stigmatized as being just kids, and SpongeBob doesn't get his promotion because he's just a
Mm.
child and he has childlike tendencies, and they're trying to fight this throughout the movie and prove that they're men, and then they get to the end in this final scene and they finally surrender to the fact that they are children at heart, and they both shed a tear from their left eye and it short circuits the lamp and brings the water back in. And I thought that happens in so many movies, magic tears, and apparently the molecular structure of a tear energetically, it's a recoherence, what would you like, substance, like, so you
Hmm.
let tears out and it actually brings homeostasis back
Yep.
into everything
It's
energetically.
it's it's one way to move emotions out is by crying, by releasing. And the important thing is that our faces have been designed in a certain way. When we cry, it goes down here and it's meant to enter our mouth because there's a chemical structure in there that calms you down. So
Wow.
you need to lick your tears. Some
Yeah.
advice. Lick the
Yeah.
tears. Yeah.
I feel like there's a correlation there between what we've been talking about with feelings, like letting yourself feel, and the language of the heart being more symbolic than thoughts and labels and words. For me, that I found a lot of solace in with your work, that was the abstract and the world of the abstract. And I might attribute that to curiosity. But
Mm.
what drew you to this kind of abstract way of working rather than, trying to accurately pinpoint things through language?
I don't know if he's going to answer it, but I was studying to be a psychologist, a clinical psychologist,
Yeah.
and was just about to finish my degree, enter into my master's, and that's when Dad died. And that's where I was like,
Wow. Oh my God.
I also was part of, so he was in hospital for a month and I got to see what the system was really like, and he was too expensive to keep alive. And so that sat with me. And that's where I was like, there's something not right about the way our system's currently working. I don't like it. That was my first entry into
Right.
it, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
knew nothing before this, okay? And so I was like, something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. How can you think someone's too expensive to keep alive? That's someone's love,
Yeah.
and also where's the support around here? They have social workers, which I was talking to, that ended up not doing things right anyway. So it's like they're just there just to say, hey, do you need me to hold anything for you? They don't really actually help the situation. My intuition was like, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel right. And so I just started Googling and looking for alternatives. Should I be a therapist? What does it mean to be a therapist? And then somehow I came across transpersonal. And when
Yeah.
I saw how they explained the type of work, that for me was felt true. That felt so
Yeah.
right. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Why in psychology? Like, I know a friend that's a psychologist. She argues the point that the soul doesn't matter. How does the soul not matter when that's what we're feeling? For me, it
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we all know there's something there. You can't deny it. We know there's
Yeah.
something inside of us that's, no one else knows and no one else sees.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what really is the ultimate benefit of bringing the unconscious to the forefront?
So like Carl Jung, which transpersonal is basically based on, it brings a person closer to individualization. So what that means is the unconscious has many parts, and so once we work on all those parts and we bring them to the surface, you then become your individual self, and you know yourself, and then we're able to put it back together. But the unconscious is all split and it's all messy and nothing's been dealt with. So our
Yeah.
goal is to make you whole again, and that's called
Right.
individualization.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. There's such a through line between everything we're talking about and where I'm at in my current life. We were going to talk a lot
Yeah.
about death, and we haven't. Do
Have
you
we
want to
spoke a
talk
bit?
about death?
Uh, yeah, let's talk about death for a moment. And this is kind of the work that I have behind it as well, is we've forgot. So I was told by my mentor that we come on earth to experience death because nothing dies out there. When we die, from what you and I believe in, is that when we die, our consciousness goes off. So that's a word I use, consciousness instead of soul, when I'm talking to corporate and stuff like that. So our consciousness leaves and it's forever alive, right? Nothing dies. So when you come on earth, you experience death. And that's how the whole entire earth works. But birth, death, birth, death. It's a cycle. How our seasons work, birth, death, birth, death. If you look at Greek mythology, all they talk about is the death and birth process. So for me, I think as a society, if we can't respect and understand death for what it is and what it means for us as humans, we're going to be lost. We're so lost.
Mm,
We're
mm.
going to be even more lost than we've ever been before. So if we can have a relationship with death, because we're going to die, there's no doubt about it. You also want that process to be as easy as it is for yourself, right? And so if you are afraid of death, you're afraid to live. It's just
Wow.
hand in hand. Yeah. So my goal is to make
Wow.
people feel comfortable with death so they're able to live properly.
Interesting. Death was a topic in my last episode and the second last episode of my first season of the podcast, like suicidal ideation and these like ruminations of death. And I've been pondering the subject and noticing that this subject is so in the therapeutic realm, right? It's like red flags and alarm bells, and you can't even articulate before you're a problem and we need to fix you.
Mm,
But this is my active experience of consciousness at the moment, where death is very prominent in my landscape, but it doesn't necessarily correlate with a simplicity of being or a sense that I am any more fluid in my movement through the world. You know how like some people
mm,
seem to kind of reconcile that suicidal ideation by being able to integrate this idea that like I'll live as though I'm already dead. But that
Mm.
it's kind of been the opposite for me. It's like the more that shame mounts or the more that regret mounts or pain and helplessness mounts seems to be when thoughts of death arise, which seems incongruent. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean?
So the first thing that stands out for me with what you're saying is so with teenagers, there's a lot of talk of and thoughts of suicide. And the
Oh,
reason
yeah.
being, yeah, and the reason being, and it's not literally they want to kill themselves, it's because they're moving from adolescence to adult, and that transition isn't happening properly. And so what they're feeling is there's something dying in me, right? Which is you're moving from adolescence to adult. But does that mean I want to kill myself? Because I feel like death. So I
Yeah.
must mean I kill myself. But they haven't got the support or education to understand they're actually moving from one stage of life to another. This is also loss because
Right.
Papua New Guinea do it a lot, and also the Indigenous culture in Australia, they do it a lot, where you hit a certain point of your boy age, and then there's a ritual, there's a tradition, there's something that happens, and then the boy's able to move from boy to man and hold that role.
Mm.
Unfortunately, the women and the men in our society have not had that transition. What transition have we had? 21st, you get shit faced and then we all move on, right? Is that
Yeah.
the transition where we are not honoring the move from child to adult? And you wonder why our adults are children.
Yeah. Yeah.
That transition hasn't happened,
Yeah. That
you know?
rite
So
of
they've probably
passage.
got, yeah, and they've probably got to die inside to be able to move across.
Wow. Yeah. That seems very correlated to what you said about individuation being the
Mm,
goal. It's like
yeah.
it's too ambiguous. Like you don't know where you belong, I suppose.
Yeah, this is where support's
And
important.
so I'm going through
Yeah.
a teenage shift at this time, it seems. Yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
you're probably dying. There's something that needs to die,
something's
and your
dying.
awareness, yeah, something needs to die. Yeah, that's what's happening.
So you said that you not in this conversation, but in a conversation between us, you said that you're really, I suppose, you're exploring the humor behind the concept of death, and you're trying to take it less seriously. Would that be accurate?
Make it light. Yeah, make it light for people to actually hear because it's not hidden. When you talk about death, no one knows what to say or do. So if we can make
Yeah.
it a bit lighter, make a story out of it, and yeah, it just needs some lightness to it because it is so
Uh-huh.
dark. Like it's the darkest
Right.
topic we can talk
Yeah.
about. So how do you
But
even
yeah, is
do
it
that?
even? Is it really that dark?
For me, it is the darkness comes from how you look at death. So the way I look at
Right.
death, I'm here in this moment, experiencing what I'm experiencing. And through life, I need to live properly, do the right things, and blah, 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 blah. And so when I die, I can carry that goodness with me to another life, right? It's the Egyptians talked about it, many old cultures talked about it. If I'm going to live my life sitting constantly in fear and worry about everything and anything and even about death, when that moment happens, and I've seen it happen many times, the person can't let go. They're tortured during death. During the dying period, they're so afraid to let go. It's the most horrible experience. I want to die. When I die, I want it to be a decent experience.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least you know that I've lived as full as I can. And this is part of life. Like the plants, they die, animals die,
Yeah.
everything dies. I'm just part of the cycle. That's what I
Well,
am. I'm part of this cycle.
I think that the more you can engage with the concept, the more you can already be in your death before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think the purpose for me at least is to prepare for death and to do
100%.
and to
Yeah.
get death right.
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's
to
exactly it.
and to not
Mm.
reincarnate. In my personal realm of desire, that's what I would like, unless it's by choice and I'm like a Kardashian or something. Maybe there's a
Yeah. Well,
reward in that. But
you have that choice. But
yeah.
unfortunately, your soul's chosen this for
Yeah,
this
well,
moment.
fuck. I fucking hate that. How do you know? I don't think I get that on some level I did, but I actually had to go through a very necessary phase of being like, no, I fucking didn't. I didn't choose to
Mm.
be here. Like that helped me a lot, I
Did
think.
it?
Yeah,
Mm.
admitting a sense in me that was like very resentful of the fact that I was here.
Yeah,
And
I
just
remember
like,
talking about this.
yeah, like
Yeah.
angry with myself
Mm.
or with my higher self or with God, because like, where are you? You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
when shit gets hard like that, I think
Mm.
there's a lot of like conditioning, well, religious programming too, where even the mention of like God or Jesus, like you feel like they're behind your shoulders. So
Mm.
the if you sense that you're ungrateful to be alive, there's like a great shame or guilt that comes over
Mm.
because you're
Mm.
being watched and you're supposed to like, or I'll get in trouble from God if he sees me
This
complaining.
is what society's done to us.
Yeah.
Makes you think there's this man standing over you.
Yeah. So I think it
Mm.
repaired my relationship with God to be able to
Mm.
be like, fuck you. You
Mm.
know, what do you do? Where are you? Or to my
Yeah.
higher self or to my soul instead of just, everything's a lesson. So I know you can be ungrateful. It's okay. Yeah.
So I don't know. This popped up yesterday for me, and just because you mentioned the word ungrateful, so I was with, so I do key training. I don't know if you know what the
Never heard
key
of
is,
it.
but
What's that?
it's I think some people spell it QI key. So
Oh,
it's like
like
martial
tea?
arts. Yeah, chi. Yeah,
All
but
right.
my
Yeah.
Japanese mentor calls it key. So I don't know I
Cool.
don't know what the actual word is, but yeah. And so I was with him yesterday, we're just training together, and I was talking about like I'm just suffering with just trusting anything right now. Like, really don't trust anything. And he goes, the problem is there's three stages that you have to go through. The first is accepting the situation, accepting what it was, accepting what it is, and just accept it.
Mm,
You then move to being grateful for what that was, and then trust comes in.
right.
So I'm like, all right, let's practice that. Let's see
Yeah.
how that goes. So from a Chinese medicine kind of point of view and Taoism, that's kind of how they see it. You've got to accept,
Mm.
be grateful, and then trust comes in, where you
Yeah.
trust this is how it all is and how it's meant to be.
I see. It's a bit like
Mm.
forgiveness. Like there's such a focus on rushing to forgive people when
But
that's
there's a
quite an
process to
internal
forgive.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a process, and the process to forgive is first you've got to understand.
Yeah.
You can't forgive, you got to understand it first.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where the battle is when you're trying to forgive someone, but you haven't quite done the work to understand why,
Yeah.
what, and how
Yeah.
has
I let
happened.
myself comfortably hold a few people in the zone of no forgiveness, just or not just yet forgiveness.
Same, I've got a
Is
few.
healthy. Yeah.
I'm working on that. There is one thing I wrote out that stands out a lot, and I feel like you need to know it, but at the same time, I don't know if you want to put it in the podcast.
Okay. 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 We'll
So
cut
when
it
I
with
was looking
this.
through, yeah, so I just want to know how this makes you feel, right?
Okay.
Just hearing back at this.
Wait,
So
is this the start of is this the session part?
it can be, but it depends on how you feel about this sentence, right?
Okay, all right.
Okay. So you've learned early in life that feeling deeply was dangerous.
You reckon?
Do you feel that's true?
I guess so, but then I kind of wonder, like I contradict it because I identify as a person that does that. Like I feel deeply. And so I guess is that what you mean? Like that I'm going to be,
So you learned early,
yeah.
that feeling deeply was dangerous.
Yeah,
And so when I
I'd
saw
agree
your
with that.
mask, it was
Yeah.
spitting that out constantly. And also another thing,
Yeah.
meaning became a survival strategy.
Oh, dude, yeah. That's fucked. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
really fucked.
sorry. Oh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true. That's like
Mm.
really hard to confront. And I
Mm.
would say that's been at the crux of this year I've spent, where it's finally like the consequences of the incessant pursuit for meaning have caught up
Mm.
to me. and there's no longer
Okay.
a benefit in learning anymore. It's actually it's having diminishing returns or kind of like entropic returns.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It's almost like you've gone too far with trying to find the meaning. Yeah,
Yeah.
our minds work very similar. I'm extremely curious too, so sometimes I do wish I
Yeah.
wasn't so curious, but at the same time, I'll never lose my curiosity because that's what it means to be human.
Yeah, I
So
know.
you can't
It's
forget that.
finding that line for me that
Mm,
has been really hard.
mm. So what's hard about that?
I'm doing this to
Sorry.
myself right now for anyone listening. I'm just choking myself with my hand.
So your hand wants your throat
Yeah.
to be part of this?
Yeah.
Your throat came up in previous sessions as
Yeah,
well.
throat always comes up. I'm a throat in
Mm.
human design. That's my engine.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am too, actually. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, and it's like my trauma spot. So,
Hmm.
wait, well, I'm like I'm dissociating. What was the question? Must be hitting something hard.
Oh, no, that's right. Meaning. There was you've gone too far with trying to find the meaning
Yeah.
and you feel like, so I need to know what it's doing to you. Like
Right.
now that you've realized this, what's this too much meaning, we'll call it.
Okay,
Um,
so there's like a massive grief around I identifying with becoming. Something that you mentioned to me quite recently was that I needed to grieve my future self instead, because you think you need to let go of your past. But I
mm,
need to let go of all of these ambitions and dreams that I
mm,
just assumed were going to happen, but the time just passes and they don't. And I kind of get further and further away and start to sort of live one foot in a fantasy, and there's no acknowledgement of what's really happening in my life. I feel like I'm losing my grasp on a dream that always oriented me. And so
mm,
I could maintain this curiosity and this infinite quest for meaning and for more, because I had this sense of infinite time. And because I could live in this dream space of like this big goal I have for myself and just sort of assume that it was going to happen. And I guess I called that positivity, or it was some kind of coping mechanism to escape like the actual reality. And now for some reason, it's just stopped holding the form it used to have for me. And it's very
mm.
clear to me that it's not fucking there. And it's more
This dream's
beneficial
not
for
there.
me to actually, yeah, to
Mm,
actually
mm,
be in the reality that I'm in,
yeah.
which is,
And is that hard?
yeah, it's not a desirable reality at
Hmm.
this particular point in time.
So I'm not going to ask what the dream is that you have,
Yeah.
but that particular dream, is it forever gone? Do you know this for a fact?
Well, no, that's the thing. I want to reorient the dream in my field because there's some grief in me about the fact that I feel like I've lost my strength to
Yeah.
hold it,
Okay.
like I've lost
Yeah.
hope.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
So you've lost hope.
Yeah.
This is interesting. There's so many like thoughts on this. So you started this off saying that you're identifying with becoming,
Yeah.
and then you've gone off to say you want to orientate that dream that you've got, and that you're starting to lose hope. So let's go back with identifying with becoming.
Yeah.
So then, what does identifying with becoming mean?
If I'm in the process of learning something, accruing something, becoming this thing,
Hmm.
then there's permission to not be it. And if I admit that I'm not becoming anything and I'm actually
Hmm.
just avoiding being anything, then I have to admit what I am. Which I suppose feels like some kind of failure in in
Hmm.
earthly
Hmm.
terms.
Hmm.
Like
Because you had a
I didn't
dream.
have my
Yeah.
priorities straight.
You're really blaming yourself a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't, instead of maybe looking at the situation for what it is.
Yeah, I do. I have a lot of self blame
Mm,
coming up
mm. I know your
during
public
this
face said it. Your public
during
face said
this
it all.
during this phase. That's probably been the hardest. The hardest part of the last 4 months has been having this small revelation that I actually never wanted to quit choreography, and that was more of a response to the impact of that big losing that big job,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then admitting everything I've thrown away, or what
Hmm.
feels like I threw away.
Hmm.
It's actually really hard to sympathize with my past self, with my younger
Hmm.
self. I'm feeling quite incongruent
Yeah,
with her,
yeah.
and she had the dream as well. So there's something there
Hmm.
about that. But
So
like,
she's still holding the dream. So this part of you, and so this is another thing that we work on in transpersonal. You've got all these parts from the age of zero to the day to today. You've gathered all these different characters inside of you, and so this one here, who's still holding on to this dream, she needs to have a conversation. We need to talk to her because she could potentially be the one that's keeping you there.
yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
keeping you there, keeping you think, no, that dream's still there. No, I've got to follow that dream or blah, blah, blah. Instead, how choose to look at it a bit differently. Like I needed a few years to blow up and discover myself. And now that you've
yeah,
gone through whatever you've gone through since you've quit choreography, imagine now this version of you going back in, different
yeah,
insight, different thoughts, different ways of living, different patterns. That version of you that goes, hey, we had a dream, she's a bit outdated. And I'm sure
right,
her choreography is
yeah,
outdated too, right?
yeah,
But you know
yeah,
what
it
life
is,
does though? It gives you experiences. Life gives you experiences, and you have gone through many experiences
yeah,
since leaving that job. So
yeah,
I'd be so interested to see who you are going back into it now.
yeah. So would
Because you've done a
I.
lot of work. Like we're sitting here talking about shame and guilt and all that sort of stuff. And that's fine. We can talk about it in this moment, but really throw yourself back into that work, knowing that that shame and illusion, shame and all those words are just an illusion because you've done so
Mm,
much work compared to that
yeah,
version of you that first had that job and left. So
yeah,
a lot of things have happened, an
mm,
evolution. So might be the right time to go back into it.
yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, who cares at the same time?
Well, yeah,
But this
that's
is where we've got to
I
be more present.
I do want to go. I think I think there's like a pendulum thing that's happened where, because I'm so afraid of repeating, I can now see my cycles. It took me a decade to see the way I repeat. Um, and I'm
That's
very
good. That's
afraid of
great.
accidentally of doing that again.
But your awareness is there now. So even
Yeah,
if you do fall back into it, that at some point there's going to be an awareness that pops in and goes, hey, you're doing what you did before. We're back in that trap, and you'll be able to take yourself out of it.
yeah,
Your awareness is different now around it. So you can't think like you used to.
right. Yeah.
Mm.
So there's this like push in me towards consolidating some kind of identity and almost rushing it. Like with this
Hmm. Hmm.
choreography thing in mind, it's like all I want to do is just like jump back into the work, but there's this whole perceived gap of building my public profile again and building my contacts again, and the fact that I've been out of the dance world for at least 5 years now. And it's like you need to gather this evidence, and you need evidence to get the evidence, like you need evidence to get the jobs.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm, mhm.
and I'm
But you're not
really
starting at
like,
zero though.
no, I'm not. And I can
No.
feel that there's this like kinetic potential behind it that
Mm,
like as soon as I get that first one, I'll just run. But there's some block around, like there's a lot of anger in me about some of the choices that I made. Like I got
mm,
invited to be in this really incredible dance company like 2 years ago. And it was when I
mm,
just moved to Brisbane and I was like in this woo, I was in this spiritual like curiosity land where I was just like, no, I'm not a dancer anymore. And now I'm like, it was the dumbest shit. It was the dumbest decision I've ever made was to turn. I didn't even think, I just turned it
mm,
down. And it was like a really fucking big deal. And
mm,
it was right there. There was no, I was just invited. I didn't even have to audition. There was no resistance behind
mm,
it. And I
mm.
couldn't even see it at the time. And I can consciously, what's the word? Like, I can understand that choice at the time because I couldn't have any other thoughts, but I
Yeah.
can't sympathize. I'm so angry with her right now.
For missing the opportunity.
Yeah.
So you're assuming that if you had taken this, great things would have happened.
Yeah. Better things than the ones that did. Yeah.
That's just assuming. It's
Yeah.
just an assumption. We don't know if that's true. It's something that I'm really
Yeah.
interested in at the moment when I talk to people. I love just seeing where they're assuming because it's a whole
Right.
illusion.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
I've
know,
got
it's
a
even, I
lot
was
of
listening,
them right now.
yeah, I was listening to Candace Owen the other day about the Beckhams, and I was like, she's just assuming all over the place.
She's
She doesn't know
shocking with
any of
her
this.
assumptions, man. She's really bad.
And see,
Yeah.
we get caught up in the illusion of an assumption, you know? And so I guess this is what I do a lot of, I assume and that's the truth. And it's not the truth. And you have to remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So what can I do, Maria, about this feeling I have inside?
I think you should put a private face together. And I
Yeah.
think because you said you're identifying with becoming. So in the esoteric world, we don't like looking at identity because I'm Greek, my background's Greek, so I therefore am Greek, and therefore I'll start behaving like I'm Greek, and I start doing things like I'm Greek. So that's almost like a false identity. Like, for example, I remember being in therapy and I was saying, but I'm Greek, so this is where the pattern comes from, and blah, 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 blah. She's like, you're identifying yourself with it. We shouldn't be identifying at all because we are more than what this body is. We're way more than that. So identity needs to go.
I'm having
Mm,
trouble integrating the massive experience that
yes.
has been like the past 5 years, which is on a soul level of immense merit and value.
Mm,
But
mhm,
there's
mhm,
no quantifiable value on this present planet,
mm,
or I haven't found a way to bring that qualitative essence into any kind of like self-worth or value of me as an identity. And this idea that I have to I have to communicate a clear one in order to maintain consistency and to build anything on the planet materially. And
yeah. Okay.
that's been like the core reason why this meaning making thing is starting to like destroy me.
Mm. So you were saying that you're trying to bring, I guess, we'll say your soul out, right? And then be that, but you're struggling to do that, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So do you even know what that looks like to even know what you're integrating?
Not integrating, no. I can be in that thing and I can
Hmm.
be in this thing. And
Okay.
that's two different things.
But you definitely know
Yeah.
what
Oh, I
you
know
you
what
want
my
to bring out. You
soul
want,
and my I know that dream,
yeah.
and that's where the dream is too. Like I know the feeling of it. It's
Mm,
huge.
mm.
It's like too big for my body.
Yeah. Okay. We definitely need to a private face mask.
Okay.
I've got
So
it, getting a strong urge for that.
so what's the what's the instruction there? So it's like what's behind what I'm trying to
What
hide?
you're not. what you don't show people.
Yeah, that's
What's
Miss
just in
Sparks for
you.
you. Okay.
That's
All
me,
right. Well, the
Marge.
people are going to want to know now. Like, we're going to have to do another follow-up session as another episode.
It's something that I'm really interested to see your private face.
What do you
Mm.
suspect is in there?
I don't suspect something's in there, but I feel it's so obvious that you're not looking. You're just so blinded by the meaning and discoveries and the curiosity that you're actually missing what's really there. And because I'm outside of you and I already know a lot of your journey and stuff like that, I'll be able to look at your private face, and I feel that will give me something to work on deeper with you to help that this whole
Okay.
like integration part.
All
Because
right.
now that we know what the public looks like, right, which is kind of still stands, you feel that's still really relevant today, right?
Yeah.
Super chaotic, blah, 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 blah. Now let's see the design and the look of what the private looks like.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So this is where now, I guess, for therapy, it's a lot of talk, talk, talk. Okay, you don't know,
Yeah.
don't know. Now we need to do something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then we've got something else to talk about. We can go deeper because now we need to go deeper
Okay.
with what you're
Cool.
saying.
All right.
So
Well, I'll do that. I'll do that tonight.
cool. I'm looking forward to it. Also, another little quote that kind of came to me when I was reading your notes, is that it's the moment you stop trying to solve yourself and start living inside yourself. I think that is a moment where a lot of things are going to really change for you. Because again, we're so similar, we're so curious. We just want to solve problems, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes there's none to solve, but
Yeah.
just be, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
things don't things don't feel good sometimes, like, because I'm battling a lot at the moment with loneliness, and it's so silly because, I've got so many great support around me, but I
Mm.
still feel lonely. And so it's something where I'm trying to tell myself and work on is I think you'll always feel lonely, so just accept it.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
you've got so much around you, but you still feel lonely. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
So it's just this feeling I have inside. Maybe it's not loneliness and maybe it's something else, but it's the only way I can kind of link it to anything.
Mm.
So I need to be comfortable with loneliness for loneliness to feel okay.
Wow.
Because right now I'm scared of it.
Right. Interesting.
Mm. So even
Yeah.
as a therapist, even therapists are constantly working on themselves. One of my favorite quotes from Jung was he said, I think it's 30, up until 30, you're just gathering data. And after
Oh,
that point's
yeah.
where you do the big work.
Yeah,
Well,
my
that's where,
human design again. It's like, and my gene keys. Apparently, I have the thing. I don't know what they call it, but they call it you getting up on the roof, and then at 30, things are supposed to start coming together. I think about it every day. I'm like waiting. I'm hoping that on the
how off are
strike
you
of
to being
midnight.
30?
I'm 29,
Oh, well, there you go. Your
and so
last year. That's
I'm
why death
also
is so big.
yeah, and it's like it's amping up the what doesn't feel right because I'm like, well, what if the human design doesn't come and save me? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's supposed to get better at 30,
Mhm,
and I'm just hoping that the universe will like pluck me out.
mhm. Just be mindful that the universe probably won't pluck you out on your 30th birthday,
Yeah, I know.
and
Well,
it
I mean,
might
my
take a little
Saturn
bit of
return,
time.
I thought it would happen on my Saturn
Oh God,
return as well,
Saturn
like the day that
return.
started, but we're
When was
still in
that?
it.
Oh
That was
God.
earlier this year, April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Earlier last year,
So I'm
April.
deep
Yeah.
in it. Oh, yeah, sorry, last year, yeah.
Hmm.
Deep in the Saturn return, all that.
The only
Yeah.
way to heal this is to go through it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
the alternative is to suppress it, take drugs, alcohol. It's the only
Well, I
way
tell you what, do
to
you
go
know
through it.
that Ecuador means equator in Spanish? And that's what
It looks
Ecuador
like it.
is because
Yeah.
it's on the equator.
The equator.
And so
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of symbolic, like it being the 0 point. I can't fucking
Mm.
wait to get down on the ground, Maria. Like to get down to the zero, to like 0 meters elevation. Like this 4,000 meter elevation, I swear, like just for anyone listening, if you're in any kind of like uncertainty in your life, don't go up a mountain because it will fuck your brain up. Like
Yeah,
it's so fucked.
but is it fucking your brain up for good though, or
It's
is it
probably,
bad?
I think it's positive. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm gonna feel like Superman once I get down. But it's similar to like, when you're on your luteal phase before your menstruation, there's you have certain days where like it's like there's a monster. I'm so curious about like the esoteric science of what actually happens when your hormones and when the moon is out and stuff, because I feel some other quality enters my being, and I
Mm,
just know it. I can just feel it. I'll be like, oh, I know exactly when I'm 10 days from my period because I can't control my emotions. I'm really angry and I'm
mm,
sad and everything hurts. And
mhm,
being on
mhm,
a mountain is adding to that.
mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So for me, and it might be really simple, but for me, I over the last couple of years, I really appreciate having a period because it really helps me to shift things out. So
Yeah.
whatever I'm really sad about,
Yeah.
which is what I've been working on the last week, I've had to really alter my life in ways to support that not happening again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe what you're talking about, entity or whatever that feeling is, maybe it's your guide coming in and going, "Oi, you forgot to look at this.
Yeah.
This has been
Yeah.
suppressed for the last month."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's a probably a good place to leave the little therapy session. I'm gonna go and do my private mask. Um, it's
Probably come at the right time.
yeah, yeah, it's
Because
good.
it
I'm
also
glad
when
there's like a concrete that there was something that comes up so strongly for you, because
yeah.
it's not necessarily like relevant either. Like you wouldn't think I wouldn't have thought
Mm,
to do that.
yeah, well, considering it was back in 2023, right? You
Yeah.
know, I'm sure you've done work on this sort of stuff, but it's funny because you're almost like repeating it again, like it's come up as a
Yes,
repeat, but
that's what it feels
it's
like.
manifested differently now. It's like I'm here again, but I'll pretend to be this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the ego too. So the ego is so smart. It's going to find ways to make sure that you continue comparing yourself because this is what we have to do to survive. And it will find any way to do that. It will
Right.
find any way.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
unfortunately, we don't have a good relationship with our egos at the moment. So anyway, maybe in decades and lifetimes from now, we get a better one.
Yeah, I'm keen. I'm keen to see where
Mm,
the world is headed. Have you bought some
yeah.
silver, Maria?
I bought gold and silver years ago. Yeah.
Oh, great. Did you know how much it's gone up? Have you seen?
I've heard about it, but I haven't looked at it. But
Silver
it's
has gone up
silver's
at
run out.
least 5 times. Wait, what? I saw, yeah,
Yeah.
my friend was at the Bullion in Sydney the other day and there was a line of 100 people out the door. Yeah. I
I bought
bought a
some years
little
ago.
chunk. Yeah, dude, look at the value of what you bought right now. It'll
Mm,
blow your fucking mind, mate.
wow. And
A
because I bought big
kilo
silver
costs
bits too.
$5,000 for a kilo right now.
How much was that? Like 5 years ago?
About a fifth of that. So I bought a chunk. I bought
Whoa.
a 5 kilo chunk back in COVID that cost me $5,500, and it's worth $27,000 now. Yeah, go and
See,
look
look what great
at what I
investment.
got. I know, and
What great
that
investment.
was like a reward for being a conspiracy theorist. Like
Yeah,
that's the prepper.
yeah,
Also,
yeah,
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 on
yeah, yeah.
XRP coin if you're trying to
I have
invest.
some.
You've got
Yeah.
XRP? Great. Yeah.
I've had it for
Yeah.
years, but I haven't
Yeah,
looked at my
that's
crypto.
gone up
I,
10 times as well. So that was
because, yeah,
point
right.
0.2 back in COVID and it's 2 now. And some people reckon it's going to go up to 10,000. Who knows? But
Mm.
apparently it's like the plumbing for the new currency. Like this
Yeah, I
the
knew that back then when I bought
yeah,
it too.
same.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was the
Yeah, sick.
US. I've said it. Yeah, great. Well, congratulations on having gold and silver.
Yeah. Well,
Welcome.
I
Yeah.
sold my gold at the start of this year to fund my trip to Montreal and Ecuador.
Australia.
No
Oh,
regrets,
okay,
but
you're going
yeah,
there.
yeah.
No regrets.
But we've kept holding on
Cool.
to the silver still.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
running out apparently. Like we're literally on our last bit of silver, and that's why it's gone
Wow.
haywire. Yeah, so when I bought gold 5 years ago, I was told by my mentor to buy the little ones. Do you know, like little
Oh, yeah.
square thin ones?
Yeah.
They're like the cheapest ones you can get, and to buy a heap of that because if shit hits the fan, you can at least still trade without using your 1 kilo.
Right, right. Yeah, and you
Yeah,
can hide it. Stick it up your fanny. Yeah.
that's exactly where I was thinking of
Yeah.
putting it. It's the safest place.
Well, I don't know. Once upon a time, apparently the government came and raided everyone's houses of their silver back
Oh fuck,
when
that's no
history.
surprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Anyway, I'm taking this down a weird
I
route.
think the Vatican has most of it, don't they? Or the
Probably. And
Italian,
an
yeah, yeah.
octopus.
Anyway, yeah. So
Um,
yeah. But how are you
well,
feeling after that?
um,
From when we first started?
I feel better in my body. I was like a little
Oh,
nervous. I
good.
was feeling grief coming up in bouts as we were talking. And
Mm,
that definitely hit something because I like
good,
dissociated a little bit. And
good. Yeah,
there's
yeah.
some reluctance to do the private mask exercise. There's a lot of fear
Is
in
that
like actually
something,
approaching this head
is
on.
it something you prefer we do together rather than you
No,
just
I
going off
can
and doing
do
it on
it.
your
I
own?
can do
Okay,
it. I think once
okay,
I'm
okay.
in there, I can do it. It's just a
Maybe
bit
don't do it today.
like
Just
cringe.
give yourself time. Yeah, wait till it comes up. But don't
Okay.
push it too much. Because I know what you're like. You're like me. Like, I want
Yeah.
to do it now. I
Well, I
want to
want to get
find out
it
what's in
done.
there.
Yeah. No, I probably
Yeah,
will
all
do it
right.
tonight. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But
Um,
send it to me nevertheless. Send it to me. But what we can do is organize a session for just us to talk about that. And if you want to go live
yeah.
with it, then we can.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, let's
Cool.
do it.
Well, yeah. Well, I
Okay.
enjoyed that. Thank you for
Yeah,
this is my
thanks,
first
Maria. Thanks for
podcast.
being here. If you ever want to come back or if anyone has questions they'd like to ask Maria, put them in the comments below.
That'd be awesome.
I just my face went bright because I'm looking at my document of questions that I had for you. If someone can't afford therapy, what's the
Yep.
best thing they can do for themselves, like right now?
Ground themselves. I
Yeah.
think that's probably the best thing. But in saying that, a lot of therapists, and I do as well, we offer sliding scales. So it depends on what they're able to afford. Um, and then we go from there. Because I truly believe that everyone should have the right to access this support. And it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you have the
Yeah.
money. If you don't have the money, then we can work with something else. I also want to start taking that into bartering as well. If they can, you know,
What do you mean?
for example, like as in
Oh,
I'll
like
provide,
trade. Yeah,
yeah, I'll
sweet,
provide the
sweet.
therapy like what we do. Like I'm
Yeah.
okay with that as well. So I guess you got to find a therapist maybe that's open to that stuff.
Yeah,
There's not
cool.
a lot out there, but it's something that I'm open with.
That's awesome. Yeah, bartering
Mm,
was totally a life saving thing for me. Over the
mm,
past 3 years, when I was like deep in the trenches, just I could not work, but I could exchange.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's something you taught me, and I thought was really powerful because the exchanges that we had,
yeah,
they
yeah,
shifted me, like we've spoken about. So for
yeah.
me, they work so well. Mm,
Yeah, sweet. Okay,
cool. All right,
cool. Well,
awesome.
thanks, Maria. I'll
No
uh
worries.
I'll speak to you soon and I'll send you
All
an
right.
edit of this. And thanks everyone for being here on What Was That? This is Maria Spathis, and you can check out her work in all of the links below. If you feel called to work with her, she's obviously an incredible psychologist, a psychotherapist,
Therapist.
transpersonal psychotherapist. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Jess.
Alrighty. Have a good day.
All right. Chat to you later.
Adios.